So I just wrote a quick and basic email to my client list here in Kelowna on where the market is and where it's headed in 2023. For me, it was short, direct, and to the point. And in today's video, I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit here and explain where we are here in Kelowna and where I think the Okanagan market is headed. All right, let's get after it. Welcome to Live, Love, Kelowna. So if you look at the stats that our association pushes out on a monthly basis, you'll see that they always like to show the year-over-year values. Things like year-over-year sales or median prices or days on market. This means they are comparing February 2022 to February 2023. So this is completely inaccurate representation of where the market is going, as it only paints a picture of what was a year ago. I prefer to look at the whole picture. I track, I analyze, and I study data on a monthly and as well as on a quarterly basis. So for example, the market from the end of the first quarter all the way through the rest of the year saw a trend line of a market correction where single family home prices continued to see a drop. That being said, if I showed you numbers from say November 2021 and compared to November 2022, you wouldn't think things were all that bad price-wise. And even then, that would still not paint an accurate picture. So if we look at where prices were in January of 2022, and compare them to November, you'd see something completely different. Okay, so where are we now? Well, currently we're in a state of correction where it is completely firmly entrenched in a buyer's market. Now, there are two different pricing metrics that I look at when I'm tracking the state of the market. And the first one is the median pricing. This is where we look at the midpoint of sales prices where an equal number of homes sold above and below this sales price. Now, the second one is benchmark pricing, which is an MLS estimate of the value of a typical home in a community based on size, age, number of bedrooms, bathrooms, lot size, style, etc. Now, there is a difference in the actual value of the homes. For example, in Q1 of 2022, the median price for a single family home in Kelowna was $1,260,000. The benchmark came in at $1,060,300. So just a little bit of a difference there. Pricing matters, but what I really am looking for are the trends. Like what happened each month and what happened in each quarter. Where did we wind up from where we started? Do the trends suggest that prices are increasing or are they decreasing? Well, in the case of 2022, we saw some declines. The market peaked in about March of that year, and we saw a quarter-by-quarter drop in pricing throughout the rest of the year. Sales also declined through 2022 by about 33% compared to 2021. But come on, who in their right mind is going to compare stats in 2022 to stats from 2021 or 2020 for that matter? Both of those years were crazy for the market. One was slow and the other one was just plain nuts. So if we want to compare numbers, let's look at 2019, which arguably was the last somewhat sane market that Kelowna has seen over the last 4 years. Now, we can't compare pricing due to the price points being way higher now than they were 4 years ago, but we can certainly look at sales numbers and pricing trends. For pricing, 2019 saw a nice little balance of about a 4% increase in the benchmark. In January of that year, the benchmark price for a single family home, wait for it, was $658,000, and the year ended at $687,000. Wouldn't you love to go back to that pricing? This is what I'm hoping to see in 2024, and more on that in just a bit. Okay, in 2019, there were a total of 2,336 single-family homes sold. In 2022, there were a total of 2,365 homes sold. This includes the market peaking in March of that year. So pretty equal, right? Other metrics might include the average days on market. In 2019, it took a total of 50 days to sell a home, where in 2022, the average turned out to be 34 days. There's a bit of a difference there, but I expect things to fall more in line with 2019 this year in 2023. As mentioned before, the market was still pretty hot through Q1 of 2022. All right, next I wanted to look at the absorption rate, or months of supply on the market. Now, these stats really tell a story. When I look at 2019 and 2022, there are a lot of similarities, especially in the last half of the year. Months of supply jumped up in June of last year and pretty much mirrored the months of supply going back to 2019. Now, this metric tells me that I'm on the right track when I'm looking back at 2019 as a comparable year to 2022, and which then allows me to project forward into this year as well as 2024. All right, so where are we now? We are firmly planted, like I said, in a buyer's market at the moment. There are fewer sales with a drop in demand and more listings on the market and more listings coming to the market the deeper we get into the spring. As the spring market starts to ramp up here in the next couple of weeks, I think we're going to see a demand start to pick back up. Buyers will likely get used to these higher interest rates, the market will settle in, and we will see sales begin to happen again. However, sales won't outpace the supply, but it will help to balance the market out going through the spring and into the end of the second quarter. My prediction is that we see a consistency of around 5 to 7 months of supply on the market, with an average number of days to sell creeping into the mid-40s and into the mid-50s. All right, so the big question, what about pricing? Well, with a buyer's market, we typically see a drop in price. We see a correction in the market before the real estate market begins to balance out. Now, I saw a lot of this happening in Calgary's market over the course of the last decade, where there were multiple peaks and multiple valleys in that market. It was incredibly difficult to predict. The Okanagan market, however, is a little bit easier when looking at previous sales price data going back at least the last 15 years. There are all of these small jumps in pricing with a small drop or correction, and then a period of steady and balanced increases along the way. I fully expect that the pricing we see today is the Okanagan's new normal, and that we will likely see further corrections moving through the spring, with prices starting to balance out through the second quarter and into the rest of the year. Now, that being said, we could wind up seeing another 3 to 5% drop in overall median pricing before the end of Q2 of 2023. My prediction for 2024 is that we will likely see a return to balance and small increases in pricing by 2 to 4% per year. Now, the Okanagan has seen some volatility in the real estate market over the last 3 years. From March of 2020 to March of 2022, there were mostly peaks and now some valleys that we have to contend with. Now, that is not typical for the market here. But not to worry though, balance is coming. It's just going to take about 12 months for us to get there. Now, here's the advice that I would give to buyers right now in this market. There's a good chance that you're going to be able to get a deal, find a decent deal in the single family market and the apartment condo market as well. However, there hasn't been a whole lot of movement in the townhouse segment in terms of pricing. So be realistic with the offers that you're making for that style of home. Now, that's not to say that you can be unrealistic when writing offers on the other two segments. It just means that you're going to have a little bit more wiggle room in negotiations than what we've seen in the last 3 years negotiating on single family and apartment style condos. All right, for sellers, look, pricing and marketing is what is going to sell your home. Without a great price, marketing isn't going to mean much. Be realistic and find an agent that knows the stats and is going to price you ahead of the market instead of behind it. I want you to think about this. If you're looking to list this year, do you want to sit or do you want to sell? Pricing strategy is everything. All right, that's all I got for you today. As always, if you have any questions about the market here in Kelowna, West Kelowna, Lake Country, Peachland, or anywhere here in the Valley, then we should talk. Give me a call at 778-716-7527, or you can always shoot me an email, kelly@kellyscar.com. All right, we'll see you on the next video.